Oh, yeah, look at that color. It almost feels more like something that Apple released for like a Pro device, honestly. And I say it every time this appears in a video. I could just type on this thing all day long. Hey, it's Chris. Today we're gonna check out the 2022 iPad Air, along with some of Apple's accessories, including the Magic Keyboard, the Smart Folio, and the Apple Pencil. And on top of that, as we go, I'm gonna drop in some comparison stats here and there between the 2021 iPad Pro and this 2022 iPad Air, because it's sort of the natural comparison. People are gonna be wondering, for the price, which one should I get? Now, as you can obviously see, this is the blue 2022 iPad Air. More specifically, this is the 256 gig version. It's the Wi-Fi plus cellular. And of course, this is the blue Smart Folio to go along with it. Now, I'm already expecting this to look pretty amazing, and I know you think I'm gonna make a big deal out of it when I see it. It's kind of hard to hold in my excitement when I see something like this because, let's be honest, who opens a brand new iPad? Oh, yeah, look at that color. Who opens a brand new iPad and doesn't like it? This is a little bit different. Every time Apple comes out with a color, you're like, oh, how different could it be? But honestly, they do all end up having their own personality. Let's just bask in the brilliance of this blue for just a second before we move on. You know, the colors matter when you're picking these out. And honestly, this is one of the more appealing blues Apple's done in a while for me personally, because it's not too light. It's also not too neon. It almost feels more like something that Apple released for like a Pro device, honestly. And as it's turning on, I do have to point out, you know, you can subtly see the color around the sides, even though mostly you see the color on the back. But even on the front, you do notice that pop of color, and it does add to the experience. So what else comes in the box? You get this little info packet, you get your charger, and this USB-C cable. Nice and simple. Now I do want to point out, last year with the 2021 iPad Pro, Apple popped an M1 chip into that iPad, making it amazing. Well, guess what? That M1 chip has now been popped into this iPad Air, and already people have been running their benchmark tests, and I can see that this basically benches the same as the 2021 iPad Pro. As you can see, as I'm setting this up here, this has Touch ID. It doesn't have Face ID. Some people are gonna prefer Touch ID, some people are gonna prefer Face ID. I can't say I have a major preference. Touch ID is nice and convenient, and actually if you've seen some of my iPad mini content recently, you know that I actually scanned my palm in, and that was just an easy way to sign in that way as well. What's cool here is that this has 5G, so I can activate this Verizon plan right here. Now this iPad Air starts at $599 for the base model. This isn't the base model, obviously, but the thing to know is it's about $200 cheaper, however you configure it, versus a comparable 2021 iPad Pro. Now you might be like, well, this has an M1 chip, so it's sort of like an iPad Pro Lite. Is that what you're telling me, Chris? Well, it almost kind of is, but it actually really isn't. And we'll get into the differences and why that's not really the case as we go. One thing I'm really excited about here is that we do get center stage on the iPad Air now for the first time. You know, if you're a subscriber here, I do really like center stage. That's a huge upgrade here. Once you've had it, you don't want to not have it. Just being able to keep anyone who pops into the screen for a FaceTime or meeting in the frame automatically, it's so nice. Let's get the Apple Pencil out here and talk a little bit about this screen. So this screen is a 10.9 inch liquid retina display. It's got True Tone and a P3 wide color gamut, but guess what? Compared to the 2021 iPad Pro, there's some things that it doesn't have, namely ProMotion. So no 120 hertz refresh rate, unfortunately. Also, unlike my personal iPad Pro, I don't have a Paperlike on here, but that's one thing that I would install because I absolutely love it. In fact, writing with the Apple Pencil without the Paperlike feels kind of weird to me. On the back here, you're gonna notice that you've got one camera. It's a nice camera, but on the Pro, you're also gonna get an ultra wide lens and a LiDAR scanner. So if you're the kind of person who wants to shoot and edit video and have as many options as you can all on one device, then this is gonna be a little more limiting than the Pro. Something else to note too is the sound experience. The Pro is gonna have upgraded sound and also has studio quality mics. But here's something that's really great. The port here is USB-C. It's not Thunderbolt like on the Pro, but it's 2 times faster than the port on the old iPad Air, and that actually matters. One reason that it matters is because you can now use the Studio display, Apple's new display. Also, it's gonna be faster for transferring files for external storage. Let me just say, I'm gonna be doing a full review of this thing, throwing some heavy hitter apps at it. And so we're doing the unboxing now, but I'm gonna do some testing. So get yourself subscribed if you wanna know how this thing holds up in my workflow and also just testing some crazy apps and games as well. So some of the things that maybe we'll check out for the review would be like the iMovie update. There's some cool new features, the Affinity Suite, the Procreate Video Assist feature. This thing can handle it. Capture One, Apex Legends, Final Fantasy VII. There's a lot to check out. So if you like the vibe of this video, subscribe for that one. So what about battery life? Well, this has the same battery life as the previous Air, which is 10 hours of video playback on Wi-Fi, or about 9 hours with mixed use and using cellular. So let's do a little price comparison to help you shop, okay? For a 256 gig Air, 2022 Air, you're gonna be paying about $749. For a 2021 Pro, that's the same configuration, 256 gigs, you're gonna be looking at $899. Without a doubt, the 2021 iPad Pro still offers the most firepower, right? You can't actually beat it with the Air, even though it has the M1 inside. That said, why would you go with the Air? Basically, if you want to save some money, if you like the colors, if you don't need all the Pro features, if you don't need Thunderbolt, for instance, if you don't really care about Face ID, if, like most people, you're loving the color and you don't need 2 terabytes of storage or 120 hertz ProMotion, this beautiful device is gonna be a serious workhorse. So let's go ahead and unbox the Smart Folio, get it set up, see what it looks like. Really excited to see what this looks like. And wow, it looks really cool. It's a different blue. It's really deep. It's a deep blue, like ocean blue. After all these years, still got this nice kind of felt feeling interior. All right, magnets right in place. Covers up there, looks great, really nice. So here's a good angle for you to kind of compare and contrast what the two blues look like. They're not identical. The metal is a little bit different than the cover, which is kind of evident too when you look at the camera cutout here. As you can tell, it's a really nice combo. It just looks stunning. I mean, who can argue with this? It's definitely not boring, and if you're just into consuming content, this is a really great stand for you. So yes, Smart Folio, it's great, but what about when you need to get some serious work done? I'm still so amazed that the Magic Keyboard that debuted with the iPad Pro is available for the Air, because it's just such a good keyboard. And you know what? As I've been playing around with the Samsung tablet, the Ultra, with its keyboard, I've really honestly missed this Magic Keyboard. And I'll tell you why, because it's so good for typing on my lap. And that, of course, is aside from the fact that it just is my favorite typing experience, I think, about of any keyboard out there in terms of the actual key presses. I love the way the keys press. And I say it every time this appears in a video, I could just type on this thing all day long. So yeah, look at that. This is a great combination. The blue just peeking around on the sides with this white really makes it pop. And yet you get the nice black bezel here so that it doesn't distract from what you're seeing on the screen. Now, here I am inside of Jasper.ai. I'll link it up for you. If you're a subscriber, you know I love this app. It's an AI writing app. But here were some talking points that I had for this video actually in here. And I'm just gonna come in and I'm gonna add some text here. And just to illustrate what I love about this, it's the punchiness of the keys. Honestly, I love that. They're anything but mushy, and they just have a real satisfying sound. I don't know. Whoever made this keyboard, whoever designed it, they just nailed it. True, we still have no function keys across the top, but I never really end up missing them. It's like it's nice to have, but I don't suffer in terms of productivity for not having that row there. I've only said it about 1,000 times, but I'll say it again. I love this trackpad. It really, nothing can beat it. I've tested all the iPad keyboards that have built-in trackpads that are worth testing and checking out. Nothing comes close. Just, it clicks everywhere in all the corners. Can't say that about all the other trackpads. The gestures are just so smooth. So if you're looking for an iPad, you don't quite want to pay the price for the Pro, you want to save a little bit of dough, then this is such a good way to go. And I have to say too, I've gotten so used to the Apple Pencil here. It's such a great tool for handwriting and for designing, for editing photos. That's something that I do all the time with my Apple Pencil on my iPads, is get into Lightroom, import stuff right from my DSLR using the USB-C or Thunderbolt in whatever case. Just the ridiculously low latency of the Apple Pencil combined with just how accurate it is means that it continues to be a favorite of mine. And I'll tell you this, I've been testing out the Samsung tablet and the S Pen, and you know what? I really like it for handwriting. I do not like it better than the Apple Pencil all around though. especially when it comes to doing things like drawing or sketching. You just can't beat this because it feels like an actual pencil. All right, that's it for this unboxing. Really enjoy the look, the feel of this thing. Can't wait to be testing it out a little bit more, let you know what I think. Get yourself subscribed for the full in-depth review and testing, maybe some comparisons to other iPads and tablets that I've got laying around, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Later.